On a whim in December 2022, I decided I needed to escape the cold winter of New Jersey and go to Florida and ride my bicycle. I wanted to go somewhere warm. I had often really thought about how beautiful it would be to ride through the Everglades, through the marshes in Florida. And so I packed my bike and I flew to Tampa, and I decided I'm going to bike 300 miles uh, from Tampa all the way to Miami. Um, and so I started and about 80 miles into the first day, something interesting happened, unfortunately. Something not so great. I was outside of a very empty area, a state park, and I actually broke a spoke. Actually, I was having really bad cramps in my triceps, and then I stopped, and I realized I'd broken a spoke, and so I started to check my bike out. I'm riding really slowly on the side of this road outside this state forest, and all of a sudden, from my left side, I hear something running at me at full speed. I don't know what it was, and I turned, and it was a pit bull. A pit bull was basically chasing, start to like kind of run around me and try to take a bite. And then I started to move. It just wasn't letting up. And eventually, I started to move away from it and started to pedal faster when I realized I couldn't really get it to back down. And basically, um, it went in for a bite and got my calf. And so I could feel all his teeth slipping off my calf and sinking into my flesh. It was really nasty. And but then I went full out. I must have went 35 miles per hour flat out and outran it in a minute or so. And then 5 miles later, I called my wife, and she's like, listen, you gotta go to a hospital and get checked out. And I went to the hospital. I had to Uber it, unfortunately, because it's 20 more miles to go. And I went to the hospital and met a guy, and he said, hey, listen, did this happen to you at this place? And I said, yes. And he said, oh, that's the place where people take their dogs and they just abandon them. And when they see a pedestrian, someone they can get to, right, that's not in a car or motorcycle, they actually go after them, and they even try to eat them. There's reports apparently of like homeless people being eaten by these dogs in the orange groves, and that's kind of like the area that I was attacked. Um, and yeah, so as you saw in an earlier photo, there's a bunch of injections I had to get. I had to get one tetanus shot. I had to get um, a shot directly, or two shots directly into my wound. Two shots in each glute. It was crazy. I had gotten so many of these massive injections, immunoglobulin shots, and then I was like, okay, I'm done. There's gonna be no more riding. This trip is over. I'm stuck in the middle of Florida with a bicycle. But I woke up the next morning and I felt great, and I went for it. I tried to complete the coast to coast ride. I didn't end up making it all the way to the other coast just because the road sort of disappeared. The shoulder disappeared. It was a skinny road with a bunch of 18 wheelers, and I just didn't feel it was safe. And unfortunately, there aren't a lot of roads going east to west in Central Florida. And so I ended up Ubering the last 20 or so miles to the coast and met up with my friends, and we had some fun in Miami.